Hello, everybody. It's Joseph, and thank you so much for tuning in and actually go into the YouTube to check out this documentary series that we have going on. It is an extremely exciting thing, and we are recording industry icons, which basically means that these are individuals in our industry that have left a footprint somehow, somewhere, in a very large way that has an influence on what it is that you're doing now in the salon. It could be the way you hold your hairspray different, your blow dryer, your shears, whatever. As I always say, today, this is a rocking interview, and you really just want to do me a favor. I always say this: go get a pen and a piece of paper, because if things are written down, yep, if things that are motivational to you, or if the beautiful Miss Maggie says something of a book she read, you know what? It's valuable for you to document this yourself and write down what it is that you've taken away from the next 55 minutes or so. I'd like to introduce you, before we introduce our amazing guest, I want to introduce you to my sister slash partner slash icon herself from Oxford. Yes, Oxford, England. Chris Sorby.
Hi, everyone. So good to have you with us. So, Joseph, why don't you introduce Maggie, and then I will introduce who's going to interview her.
All right. I will first start off by introducing Maggie Mulhern. And I want to tell you that I don't have enough time to introduce this individual for everything that she has done in this industry. There's been a hair Bible that has floated around for years and years and years. And one of the things that was always like a goal to many was to either be in it or to be talked to by the beauty editor that was the influencer to this magazine. Or if you were like caught off guard and asked for the cover, it made you kind of, it was a shot in a beer that night. I'm just saying. So Maggie Mulhern, she has to talk, you know what? Her introduction will be what it is she's going to speak about in these next few minutes, because she's amazing. She is a huge heart. My wife loves her. She's taken individuals under her wings, like my daughter, who she's influenced into the fashion world, let alone taken her out of 4 years of college. Thank you, Maggie. And brought her into the hair industry after I paid that debt off. Then she went into the hair industry because she was very influenced, because Maggie took her backstage at Fashion Week and had her actually do some reporting and writing for her. So you know what? I am grateful to her. She's amazing. I send you a big hug right now and a mask kiss. That's the new thing now, Chris. A mask kiss. Just letting you know. What do you got, Chris? Who do you have?
Well, this guy is a long time friend. He's one of the best hair colorists that I have ever worked with. Jointly, we won awards, which was amazing. Most importantly, though, yeah, David, most importantly, he's a super cool guy. Welcome to the first in the iConixxx chain reaction, which is where, as Joseph was saying, it's one icon is going to interview another icon from their choice, and this is our very first one. So who better than David Stanko?
Wow.
Yeah.
Yay. Chris, I feel like I can give you a virtual kiss on the cheek if you lean in.
Found one in there too.
Thank you. Thank you, Joseph and Chris. Thank you for entrusting me with the iConixxx Legacy series that we're doing to interview and kick this series off. Big kiss to both of you. And when you asked me to do this, because you interviewed me recently, and afterwards you said, hey, who would you like to interview? We want to keep this series going. And I thought, you know what, of all the gin joints and all the towns and all of the world, who could I pick but Maggie Mulhern? And
Wow.
how amazing if we quote Casablanca, it's going to be a great interview, right?
Wow, I am so honored. I am so honored that all of you, thank you so much. That's so cool. Thank you. Thank you. Love that.
Well, Maggie, we've known each other a long time, so let's just dig in real quick and a down and dirty get to know Maggie. Are you ready?
I'm ready. Do it.
All right. Diamonds or pearls?
Diamonds.
Hamburger or hot dog?
Hot dog with lots of mustard.
Heels or trainers?
Oh, both. Trainers right now because, as I mentioned, I recently broke my arm riding a bicycle. Chris, who just learned how to ride a bicycle, I fell off. And you know the old saying, you never forget how to learn a bicycle? Guess what?
You forgot.
I forgot how to brake.
Okay, Beyonce or Mariah?
Beyonce.
George or Brad?
Brad.
Pen and paper or Word doc?
Word doc.
Cash or credit?
Both. Bring it on.
Ginger or Marianne?
Ginger. Yeah, she was just so much fun. Marianne was too real.
Still or sparkling?
Oh, sparkling. I drink a bottle of Pellegrino every day.
NYC or LA?
Oh, come on. NYC. Please. Silly question.
All right, so we got to get to know you a little bit. Now we get to play a game called What I Like About You.
Ooh,
Oh, I like that.
I like that. Can I start?
Well, what I like about Maggie, I've known Maggie a really long time. I mean, probably 30 years, I would say. And I would get to see Maggie at almost every industry event. If it was IBS in New York, NAHA in Las Vegas, if it was a press luncheon, or at the Marriott Marquis in New York, there was always a big ball and we would always be there. You know what? She always had time for me. She always said hello. We could take pictures. And whoever she was with, she would always introduce me, because networking and public relations and beauty is her life. And she gave me some of my most earliest press. And even though I was not an advertiser, she would still contact me for some hair color Q&A. So we kept in contact, and certainly if there's a little tea to spill, I know that Maggie is very discreet and very confidential, and there's no risk of running to the press. I can always leak it to Maggie and know that it's pretty secure. So that's my view on Maggie.
Well, you know what? That's always a problem. People say, they tell me afterwards, don't repeat. I'm like, oh, too late. I already shared it with everybody. And I would always introduce David Stanko because that was one easy name to remember. Well, can I say what I like about you? Every time there was a class and I saw the name David Stanko there, I said, I'm going to that class, because I knew I was going to learn a lot, but have a lot of fun learning it, because you are the most amazing formulator, a phenomenal colorist, but you could also do a little stand-up, at the same time. You're just so great.
It's it's fun. Today, it's a different game, though. You have to be so careful with a sense of humor on stage or in teaching. It's become trickier. Do you guys agree with that? It's a little more challenging.
Oh my God.
For sure.
Yes,
Yeah.
And when you have an academy of young students, you have to be a really spot on as well, because they look for a certain rhyme or reason to hold you responsible and want to take your car away.
Yeah.
They'll put you in your place.
That's right. Thank God
Just
for
saying.
for the Gen Z, man. They're holding everyone accountable today.
In a good way. I think I've learned so much from the Gen Zers. I've learned so much from the millennials. I've learned so much from the younger people who have come up. As much as I would love to be a mentor, my greatest mentors have been younger. So.
Oh, that's well
yeah.
said.
Yeah.
That's really well said.
Following on that, Maggie, tell us, who is Maggie Mulhern?
Maggie Mulhern is actually a senior citizen. I get a senior citizen discount at Dunkin' Donuts, so I qualify. So. No, I was 39 years with Modern Salon as the beauty and fashion director. It was the best place to be for 39 years. It was not my first job, but it was my best job, certainly. It was so much fun. I'm a journalist, and I kind of fell into Modern Salon knowing I loved the beauty industry and I loved hairdressers, but I didn't realize how much I would be embracing it and how much it would change me. And in many cases, I hope I was able to change other people. So
I'm sure you have. What are you doing now? When asked, what is your current job?
So my current job is I've just formulated this. This is a whole COVID thing. Because of all my experiences with Modern, I've taken the three things that the two things that I love to do best, or let me rephrase, the two things that I do best. And number one are photo shoots. Everything I do in a photo studio is just comfortable. I know what I'm doing. It is the one place, because before I was with Modern, I was a model. So I knew what it was like to be on the other side of the camera. So now I'm an art director and producer, and I've started Maggie Mulhern Media, which I was using a name as a placeholder, but it seems to be sticking. I'm open to any other names or suggestions if any of you have them. But I am, the two things for photo shoots is number one, I'm going to do photo shoots for brands. I'm going to do a turnkey for those brands that just don't know how to make a photo shoot happen. I'm just going to say, I've got the best photographer. I've got Roberto Lagresti, the best photographer in the industry. And quite frankly, I met him through Chris Sorby. I don't think you know that. You were the one that first turned me on to him. David Matarich is my favorite makeup artist. He's won NAHA a zillion times. And Rod Navoa is the best fashion stylist. And then I have Shortcake Nails, who is our nail artist. And I have this turnkey team. All the brand has to say to me is, I just want a blonde model, short hair. I'm going to get them advertising and marketing, and I'll do all the social media. Yeah. The second part is I want to go with hairdressers. And you know this, Joseph, I've done photo shoots. I started this thing called Artist Session, where I teach hairdressers how to do photo shoots. I'll teach them how to get published or win competitions. So I'm excited about that. And then the third part is I've been teaching workshops on social media, specifically Instagram, because that is the way hairdressers and people in the hair industry are getting themselves out there. So I give workshops on that. And those are the three things that I'm going to be doing moving forward. I'm excited about it. I'm not going to be riding a bicycle anymore. I'm going to try to get myself all together. But thank you for asking. Yeah.
Maggie Mulhern Media. It's got a good ring to it.
Well, my name is Margaret Mary Mulhern, so it's all the 3 M's anyway. So if anybody has a different name, I'm open to that. So
no, I use Margaret when you don't return my calls for a while. And I'll say Margaret.
I know you're angry. You're Margaret Mary. My parents. Margaret Mary.
You are in trouble. So you're no longer with Modern Salon, and you spent 39 years there.
39 years.
What would you say is one of your most epic moments in those 39 years?
Get out your pens.
I've had many, many, many epic moments, but I think Joseph Whitnick is going to love this one. Will appreciate this one. We had a trip to Rome, and it was the most incredible thing. We were invited over by Great Lengths, which is a hair extension brand. And they invited us over and they gave us a tour of their factories. You guys cannot believe what goes into creating these amazing hair extensions. It's incredible. It's just incredible to see what they do with the hair, and they put it in the baths, and we toured their facilities. And then the owner at the time, David Gold, gave us a tour of Rome. We had our own private bus that was just flying down the streets of Rome, and all the traffic was stopped to let us through. And I'm like, are they aware that, it's just a bunch of hairdressers? You would have thought it was like a president or the Pope coming through.
You know what, Maggie, if I can just remember one thing, there was like one of the largest marathons that was going on in Rome, like the largest marathon. Streets were closed. There was hundreds of runners. And David, who had so much pull because of his dollars he donated to the city, he had 5 police on motorcycles. Remember that?
We were
In
escorting.
front of the bus. He separated the whole group, and our little bus went all the way through for a private.
And you and I were just laughing the whole time. But then we got to the Sistine Chapel, and we had a private tour of the Sistine Chapel. And I don't even know if you know this, Joseph. Other than the guards, it was just us. And then David had all of you guys ahead of us, and David held me back so that it was just David and myself in the Sistine Chapel with the guards. I mean, I could not believe how honored I was to be part of that. And that would never have happened if I weren't with Modern Salon. I have a bunch of things like that. You know, I've been with the Rockettes. I've just had incredible experiences, all because of Modern. Were you talking about like work stuff?
Well, no, I mean, that's pretty cool though, because when you're a monogamous employee, and after all those years, you just get exposed to a whole bunch of stuff. And you were the press, you were the beauty press, you were PR. That's pretty slick. Maggie, there's another really epic story that I think everyone would love to hear, which is being on a photo shoot one time and the stylist that didn't want to cooperate on that photo shoot.
Okay, so this is my favorite Chris Sorby story. And I tell her this all the time. She knows this one. So we were having a photo shoot, and I had so much trouble finding this hairdresser who everything was communicated through his PR person, said he wants a model to go, he wants to do a blue bob. And it was, I mean, you have no idea how hard it was to find a model. I got a great model who was willing to have a blue bob. Beautiful girl, Wilhelmina model. So the hairdresser comes in, and I'm not going to say his name publicly. I'll tell you privately later. But he walked in, he goes, "How dare you give me a model like this? How dare you?" I'm like, "What are you talking about?" He goes, "She looks like a Victoria's Secret model." So she starts crying, and I'm thinking, why would you cry? I mean, that's to me a compliment. So she's crying. He goes, "You get another model for me. I'll be back here in an hour, and you better have another model for me." So I'm like, okay. So he walks out. I'm like, "I'm not getting another model. I'm getting another hairdresser." So I called Chris, and Chris said, "I'll be down. I'm coming right down." And they came down, and it was one of my, I wish I had a picture of it. It was one of my all-time favorite shoots, because here was this model who was willing to do, she was beautiful. She did look like a Victoria's Secret girl. She had all this beautiful long blonde hair. And Chris transformed her. She just made her beautiful. And it was, she didn't get a blue bob, but she did what you wanted. And it didn't end up being a cover, but it was so beautiful. It was one of my favorite makeovers, especially with all the drama that led up to it. So that's one of my things, you know, when, David and I were speaking earlier, he said, "What advice would you have for people?" And one thing is, always say yes. If you have an opportunity, don't say, you know, Chris didn't say, "Well, what are you paying me for this?" She didn't say, "Well, I gotta, you know, do this, I gotta do that." She said, "I'll be right there." She seized the moment and seized the opportunity.
But Maggie, I have to say, you know, I've known you, I think probably getting on for 40 years, and or certainly all the years that you've been at Modern. So that is getting on for 40.
39, yeah.
Yep. And you know, you're the only person that I would always say yes to. So just for the record.
That's
Chris,
nice.
Chris, wink once if you know this person's name that she threw off the shoot.
No clues.
Yep. You know what? Chris is always talk about discreet.
She's so good. She's so good at cover up.
No, I'm just writing the chapters for my book. Then I'll divulge all.
Well, that's pretty cool, Maggie. What do you think? Oh boy, you know, nearly 4 decades as beauty editor. What are some of the biggest contributions you've made to the industry or the magazine or to hairdressers?
My greatest contribution, I would say, is this program I started about 10 years ago. It's called Artist Session. And it was a company, it was my side hustle. I started it, I called it Session Artist. And it was to give hairdressers, because people would ask me all the time, how do I do a photo shoot? What do I have to do a photo shoot? And I realized it was getting to the point where unless you were an advertiser, you couldn't do a shoot with us. So I thought, how can I give people this opportunity affordably, give them the opportunity, they will get published they'll work with my team, the best team in the industry. And so I started this thing called Session Artist, and I was running a press release. It was going to be my little side business. And somebody at Modern said, you can't do that. You can't if we can make money from it, you can't do it. So we switched the name to Artist Session, and then we did it under the Modern umbrella. And it was great. It was hairdressers paying, it was, I forget how much it was. I mean, it's like $5,000 or $6,000, but worth every penny, because you're getting a photo shoot with the best team. You're going to be published. You're learning from all of us, because a lot of it is education and a workshop. You pick your own model. We would have 100 models, professional models. You pick your model, and then you learn from it, and then you get published, and you get published in the US, and I teach you how to get published internationally. It was amazing. And some of very famous hairdressers now got their start at Artist Session, and they will say, I was so terrified of everything. Artist Session was the line of demarcation in my career. Any
names that you can give us that
well, I think one,
you know, these are compliments. It's okay, Joseph. It's okay.
And Joseph has taken it. Your daughter's taken it. Chris, you spoke at it. She was one of our speakers. We always have amazing speakers. That was always part of it, that we always had great speakers. But I would say one of the greatest, we've had several NAHA winners, people that that took it and then went on to win NAHA. Right now, I'd say one of the greatest success stories is Danielle Kiesling. And Danielle Kiesling was a salon owner, is now an art director with Matrix, an art director with Ulta and Great Lengths. I mean, she says all of this. It was Artist Session that was the line of demarcation. She had the sense to take it. And then from that, she got a magazine cover. From that, she used the cover to contact all these companies. She was already with Great Lengths, but to get these companies to really acknowledge her. So I'm most proud of that. And it was a real contribution to Modern, because then we would get all this exclusive material to run in the magazine.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's pretty slick. 39 years, I keep coming back to this because it's so astounding to me. The millennial hairdressers, the Gen Z hairdressers, if you look at LinkedIn and you can find anyone randomly, the longevity at a job is often 1 year, 18 months, 6 months. What do you attribute 39 years of your life to one company?
Loving the company, loving the industry, loving what I got to do. And what is great is I mix things up. If I was sitting here writing COVID articles, I probably wouldn't be that happy. But I was able to pivot. And the same thing, like Chris has done so many different things, and Joseph and you have to be able to change it up. Otherwise it would be, get kind of boring. But the whole thing, and again, these millennials, I'm just so impressed by them and the things that I've learned from them, and learned about lifestyle and social media, things that I have zero interest in and have been forced to do. And watching them, I'll give you a perfect example. Alison Alhamid was our chief editor, and she was the one who really, I would have to say, transformed me. She was the one who really helped me get into social media, which if I did not do that when I did, which was about 10 years ago, I probably would have lost my job 5 years ago, because the people of my age who did not keep up with social media kind of lost their opportunities. But I'll never forget, we were at Fashion Week, and she said, and she was doing everything. She was writing articles and running the magazine, and she's doing Facebook. And she goes, I need you to do, she started our Instagram account, and she said, I need you to take this over. And I'm like, sure, I can do that. And I'm like, what the hell is Instagram? I mean, I didn't even know. I didn't even know what it was. So she gave me a little background. She kind of gave me some guidance, but I did not know. I'm going into TJ Maxx and taking pictures of pillows and doing posts of that. And it took like 3 months before I realized, oh, we're called a feature page, and we can run pictures of hair that other people are posting, that transformed everything. I was doing 7 days a week. I was putting up 6 to 10 posts a day. My husband got to the point, he's like, what are you doing? You're on the phone all the time. And I was running into the bathroom. I was like a junkie going into the bathroom to put up a post because, you know, everybody was getting so mad at me for always being on my phone. I got us out to over 107,000. And then the rest of the staff came in and we each took days so that I was only doing it 1 or 2 days a week. But man, I learned so much from that. And forever grateful to Allison Alhamid, a millennial who single-handedly transformed me.
Yeah.
So when you say it's being able to do different things and to be with one magazine, I got to do Fashion Week. I got to do photo shoots. I got to write articles. I got to do presentations. I got to travel. I got to go with Joseph to Assisi in Italy. I got to do all these cool things. I got to shoot with Chris Sorby. I got to go to shows and watch David Stanko on stage. So it's been so much variety and being able to pivot. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, great.
What advice would you give to millennial Maggie?
Millennial Maggie, I don't, I think advice, and I think this is what Joseph was getting to. I think finding a mentor is huge. And a mentor doesn't always have to be an older person. It could be a colleague. It could be somebody younger. It could be your child. But somebody who is interested in guiding you and somebody who knows more about something. 100% I didn't know about Instagram, and Allison guided me, and social media. So if your mentor can be somebody who knows more about something and can teach you. I mean, I've had so many mentors. I did a photo shoot with Garen, for example, and this was at a point where I thought, I know everything, and I learned from Garen on set. You know, I did a photo shoot with Orbe, and just watching him, I don't want to use the word demands, but his requests to do the photo shoot. He had to have these 2 fans. He only would do a photo shoot if these 2 giant red fans that he would walk around with. I remember watching Peter Gray behind the scenes at New York Fashion Week, making sure that his team was in place. Same thing with, Orlando Pita. The way he kept his team together and made sure that they were all learning the same thing and doing the same thing. I just watch other people and learn from other people. What's the saying? When you stop growing, you turn to mold, or there's something like that. But I want to just keep growing every day. Every day I wake up, I say, I want to learn something today and seek it out.
Fair
Beautiful.
enough.
Well
Fair
said.
enough. So let me change gears on you a bit, because you have a publishing resume behind you. Today, a lot of the trade magazines in all industries are running press releases as news. What are your thoughts on original reporting? Okay,
so what's happening, not just with trade magazines, but all magazines, is we are staffs. We're losing people. Maybe not by their own choice, but people are being fired or let go. And for example, at Modern right now, we have 2, soon to be 1 person running the editorial, doing editorial that really needs 10 people to do it. Minimum 8, 10 people would be nice. 1 person is going to be doing it. So I keep saying we because it's so fresh. So Modern works with many trusted PR people. So these trusted PR people are sending in releases, but they're trusted people. So you may hopefully drop the word, the best shampoo or the best blow dryer, introducing a new blow dryer or whatever it is. Like, hopefully whoever the editor at that point is able to take out the words that make it a strict press release. But many of the brands have great PR people and they know what's going on. And, my heart goes out to the remaining editors, because you have so much to do. You have 1,000 things to do. And getting that release up, you're just, scan it, take out the words that are wrong and that don't belong there, and, cross your fingers. I mean, I don't know, maybe you're saying bloggers are doing that. I know that our remaining editor at Modern is a phenomenal journalist, and I'm sure she's not taking out the words that make it inappropriate.
Yeah, you know, I've been around the business long enough that when I would get interviewed, I would get interviewed. The editor would call me with questions, and then you get the document back to fact check and make sure that the product was named right, or your title was right, or your quote was accurate. And it's tricky today because press releases have become points of news, and bloggers grab them, and it just goes on and on and on. What do you think the future of print is?
You know, I knew
Good question.
that.
Good question.
I knew you were gonna ask that. There is nothing like opening a magazine and holding it and reading it. Don't you just love it? But I was, for one of my many injuries recently, I went in to have my cast removed, and there were magazines all over the place. I'm like, who in his or her right mind is going to pick up a magazine after everybody else has been touching it? So print in salons is going to be gone for at least a year or two. The size of all the magazines are just shrinking and shrinking and shrinking. I mean, it's heartbreaking, but that doesn't mean that magazines are going away, but there's just going to be a different way to read them. And I was watching my daughter the other day. I'm like, what are you doing? She's got her little Kindle thing. She's like, I'm reading a magazine. I'm like, oh, that's how you kids do it. So you still want the content. You still want curated for the right audience. But I think print, I'm scared for print. I'm sad. I'm just sad because it was just so good. And yeah, it might be going away. I bet in 2 or 3 years, there are going to be very few magazines, print magazines around.
Yeah, yeah. So on that same thread, Maggie, what is your impression of online education versus classroom and hands-on education? Where have you seen that evolve, change, and what do you think's happening in the future?
All right, so here's what makes me nervous. I think online education is amazing because then you can start and stop and start and stop. You have to know who is teaching it. So if you have a Joseph or a Chris, you know you're getting good stuff. My concern is when someone who just knows how to take great pictures or who looks pretty or knows how to do everything is doing online education, but maybe everything looks great, but they don't have the meat, and maybe they know how to say the words to educate, but they don't know how to formulate, or they don't know how to cut properly because they maybe don't know what they're doing, but it's packaged so beautifully that you think you're getting something special. I mean, think back to that little girl who was, I'm sorry about I'm growing my bangs out. Sorry, I keep fiddling with this. That young girl who was giving her own tutorial of how to use the curling iron, and she broke off her own hair. So everyone's an educator. Everyone's an educator, and clearly someone who doesn't know what she's doing. I'm going to give you a good story. So I don't know if this really answers your question, but everybody knows Mustafa. Mustafa obviously is this amazing hairdresser. Oh my God, he just does beautiful silhouettes. He does the big, huge Hollywood waves. So this is in the very beginning of his career. And he said, Maggie, I want to do a video, but I'm very nervous. I've never done it before. I'm like, Mustafa, we'll do the video together. Let's do it together. And that's right when that little girl came out with the breaking off of her hair. So I'm like, oh my God, who's going to be watching this? So I was asking him questions while he's doing it. I'm like, now, tell us what you're doing here. Tell us what you're doing here. Because he said, please ask me lots of questions. I'm too nervous to do this. So we're going through the whole thing and I'm asking him questions. And then one of the things I said, so should the hair be wet or dry? I mean, I know the hair is supposed to be dry, but I was doing that for the audience because I don't know who's watching it. And he was very respectful and he understood the same thing. So we went through the whole thing, posted the video. It's up on YouTube. And I was on my computer. This is last year. And all of a sudden I'm just looking at my computer and a thing pops up and it says, you have a new comment on your Mustafa video. And I'm like, what, that thing from like years and years ago? So I said, wait, what's this all about? I looked to it, I clicked on it, and all these comments came up. And I can't even begin to tell you what a horror story it was. It says, who is that idiot blonde lady? Tell the blonde lady to shut up. Who's that? Why is she asking all these stupid questions? Duh, the hair should be dry. Oh, why does she keep interrupting him? And he told me, he said, please keep asking. So I'm reading these questions and it's like that blonde lady is so annoying. And I'm like, I'm looking around the video. I'm like, are there any other blonde? There's only one blonde lady. So I am there, and I'm not bulletproof. I was devastated. I am just like, oh, delete. Delete. And then finally there was one that says, yes, she's annoying, but her ponytail looks good. So I left that one up.
You know what?
I wanted to leave that one. Yeah. So there's something I learned from millennials. If they had not written that stuff, you know, because everybody says never read the comments. I am so glad I read those comments, because I went in and I changed the intro, the caption, which said he told me to ask him lots of questions. And I just know to say that moving forward, I know to say that during the course of it, like, oh, and you know, everybody, Mustafa, I'm asking him lots of questions because he wants me to, or whatever it is. I learn from people all the time.
You know what, Maggie?
You can still go see that video. Just go on the
oh my God,
Mustafa with Maggie Mulhern, and please be nice. Please, I beg you.
You know what? Until they come for you, you're nothing. Until you get a few haters and a few cringy comments, and like my publicist always said to me, don't engage. Don't engage. Yeah. Just ignore it. I mean, we all see it now on social. You know, whatever the post might be, about 3 posts down, suddenly, you know, maybe it's about politics. They're talking about her lipstick or her shoes. And you think, how did this go off the rails so quickly? Yeah. So, you know what?
There were a few. It was the majority of the comments were. And then they started piling on. So, whatever.
So, speaking of your photo shoot with Mustafa, give me some, because now Maggie Mulhern Media will be helping to organize photo shoots and helping to select models. I know everyone that's on your team. Talk to me about how important it is to have the right team, and what are some of your down and dirty tips to execute a great shoot? Okay,
so the first thing is finding your model, you know, assembling your team. You need the photographer, the makeup artist. Don't think you can do everything. Unless you are legit a makeup artist, you know, you're not. You know, get a makeup artist, get a nail person, and that's it. The details matter. Every time you do a photo shoot, again, sorry about the bangs. Every time you do a photo shoot, think, would this look good on the cover of a magazine? So you're not going to put something on a magazine where the nails are all chewed up or the makeup is only half-assed done. So look at the details. But I'm going to ask you, of the people on your team, who's the most important? Other than you as doing the hair, what is the most important element? Anybody have a guess? Joseph Whitnick, you've taken artist session. You should know the answer.
I would say photographer.
Yeah, well.
Yeah.
I think model.
Well, actually,
David Stanko. Yay, David Stanko. Yeah. It's the model. Yeah.
True.
The model can make or break your shoot, because if the model's not right, and it doesn't mean she has to be beautiful, she has to be interesting or appropriate for what you're doing.
Yeah.
And if the model's like terrified, you know, you're shooting her, there's only so much the photographer can do. So your model is the most important part of any shoot.
And you know, Maggie, if I could interrupt you, what I did take away from that artist session was the model not to look at the hair, but to look at the face, the expression, the bone structure. I mean, where do you go immediately if you're doing a shoot with hair? You look at the hair.
Yeah, when people say, oh, she has such great hair, it's like, you're going to make the hair look good no matter what.
Yeah.
It's the face. You have to get the right face. And here's a little insider tip. That model could be 4'11". If she has a long neck, then you have so many more options and opportunities. It allows you where the hair to fall. If you're doing an updo, does she have sticky out ears? You know, if you have to look at certain things, you kind of have to know what you want to do going into it, but a long neck is a key element. And then the photographer, you have to have a makeup artist unless you are legit a makeup artist, a nail person, think of the details, you know, fashion. Luis Alvarez once said to me that doing a photo shoot without fashion is like doing a dance without music. I thought that was so beautiful. He said it better than that, but it was, you know, that's what it boiled down to. So the fashion really can make or break a shot. And you don't want fashion that's so busy up here that it takes away from hair if it's a bob. You don't want to have string straps because spaghetti straps, because what if somebody's going to publish it and they want to crop it like this, and all of a sudden you have these funny looking straps here. So you really kind of have to think of how it's going to be used, what you're going to do. Think of the background. If it's too busy and somebody does want it on to run it on a cover, if magazines are still around, you don't want, if it's such a busy cover, they can't put out the logo and the call outs. So again, you have to think what's ultimately going to be done with that photo. You know, entering NAHA. You know, we've had a lot of people from Artist Session that have entered and won NAHA. And again, it was all the things that are learned there that you can't have, you have to really make the hair the hero. And you can have busy fashion as long as it goes okay with the hair and the background. If everything can be busy as long as the hair still works.
Right. So there's a lot that goes into it. I mean, I've interviewed you over the years about top tips, and I think on some of your Instagram, you put some tips on there. And your Instagram, what is your Instagram so everyone can check out your cover?
Thank you. I just changed it. It's Maggie, MAGGIE _Mulhern, MULHERN. And since I am a content creator, an art director, and a producer, if you look at my last 30 posts, they're all photo shoots that I've done. Yes. And they're mostly covers. And I like to put in a little tip inside there, or a little fun fact from behind the scenes. And I always make them swipeable so that you can see the artist on set. But I'm very proud of those images. And one that I put up recently was very colorful fashion and very colorful hair. And that I thought was interesting, because usually when I shoot with a hairdresser, we have a pre-meeting. What do you want in fashion? And everybody's always, well, I want neutral or white or blah, 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 which makes sense to make the hair the hero. But I loved it with Thomas Osborne said, oh, I want it fun, colorful, lots of fun fashion. And I said, are you concerned that it's going to take away from the hair? And he's like, no. So it works. If you look at that, I turned off my phone. It's like I did it 2 or 3 ago. Maggie _Mulhern. Thank you.
Well, you do some banging work, that's for sure. In planning a photo shoot, the right team, the right model. So I hope we can look to you for some more insider tips moving forward. You know, Maggie, we started this interview with sort of what I like about you. So I want to just loop it back again in the last few minutes we have about you again. So this is really an interesting question for a hairdressing audience, for a client, for up-and-coming hairdressers. You are a salon client, correct?
I am.
Tell me what turns you off or turns you on about being a woman in the salon?
So, great question. I happen to just love and adore my hairdresser, Eva Scrivo, and she does my color and cut. And, you know, I've got a ponytail now, but I mean, this is all my hair. You really can't see. If you go on to my, I have another Instagram called Maggie's Effing Hair, EFFING, Maggie's Effing Hair. And it's all about the great hairdressers I've met. And it really celebrates my hair, which is celebrating Eva. This is all my hair, no extensions, 100% colored and balayage. And it's phenomenal condition. And I owe it all to Eva Scrivo. She's amazing. She's in New York City. Just the best hairdresser ever. But I like her. So there's a lot of people doing a lot of good work. So you kind of have to be likable. You have to know who your client is. I remember before I met Eva, this is years before I was with Modern, when I was a model, I walked into this one salon. I had been there already 10 times, and I checked in at the front desk and they said, we'd like to tell you where the changing room is. I'm like, I've been here 10 times already. I know where the changing room is. It was very insulting that they didn't know who I was. So I know there's this great salon in Atlanta, Van Council has a salon, and I'm sure a lot of salons do this, but they keep little cards on a client. And they read the cards before the client comes in. Like if they know who's coming in, and they know if she just had a baby, they know, if she's having a bad marriage, if she's having an affair, they know where she works, if she blah, 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 blah. To know all that stuff, to just have that little tip before the before the client comes in, that's, I'm assuming you're going to get great work anyway, but to have that little touch was, oh, I'm special to her. And I know I'm special to Eva. I mean, I was just at her house yesterday. She had me up for pizza. So she has become my friend, and I frequently become friends with anybody who's actually touching me. I mean, think of how great that is. As hairdressers, you're allowed to, you're licensed to touch somebody. And in this day and age of COVID, I mean, nobody wants to touch anybody. I love it that Eva will touch me and she'll do my hair. And when I saw her yesterday, she rubbed my arm, even though we both have masks on. But it's such a cool thing to be a hairdresser. It's just what hairdressers are able to do and what they're allowed to do. But you have to even go beyond that. You have to, in addition to your talent, you have to have that little personal relationship, and you have to know who you're working with.
You know, that's such valuable info. There was a book a few years ago, I believe it's called Hug Your Customer, and it's a custom suiting place. Chris, do you remember this?
Yes, I do. I don't remember who wrote it.
Yeah, I think it was a guy that did bespoke suiting and shirting for men and women. And the point that he makes in his book is know your customer. How can you offer and hug and make it a great experience? And he draws an analogy. He said, look, if you have the CEO from Coca-Cola coming in, you better not offer them a Pepsi. And it's about the little notes that you write and you know, whatever that might be. So it's good because as a woman in the chair, you like to be touched and felt embraced. And how do you ask for what you want as a client? And then what advice do you have for hairdressers to ask for what they want?
So I know you and I talked about asking for things. With Eva, she has carte blanche with me. She has carte blanche. All I ask her is I like to be in the blonde family and I like to be able to put my hair in a ponytail. I mean, I don't even care if that ponytail is like this, but she takes such great pride in the fact that my hair it's almost to my waist. I don't have one split end. It's in great condition. So she likes keeping it long. And I'm happy with it long because I'm so shockingly lazy that I don't want to have to do anything other than put it in a ponytail, even though I have this great color and great condition. But how do you ask for something? I think someone once said to me that every time a client sits in your chair, it is a consultation. Even if she wants to have the same thing, you should consult every single time, even if it's 30 seconds. Not just say, oh, it's the same old. Do we want to do the same old? No, it's just, would you like to mix it up? You know, would you like maybe a couple highlights? Should we go a little shorter on your fringe this time? It makes her feel more important that you just don't see her as the same old, same bob. You want your bob, you know, right? You know, it shows that you care as much. And you know, you guys, hairdressers are artists. You know, your medium is hair and hair color. And, you know, do you think Michelangelo is doing the same thing every time? You know, you know, you have to mix it up. So asking should, from a client, should almost be more, it should be really coming from the hairdresser, from the professional, just saying, is it time, you know, would you like to do something?
At what point in a hairdresser's career can they ask for what they want to advance their career? Maybe it's, they want the first chair by the window, or they want something.
Okay, so, you know, this is something that used to happen like years and years, 1,000 years ago before Instagram. And the phone would ring, hello, and it was usually a man saying, I'd like to do a cover shoot with you. Or Maggie, let's do a shoot. And it was always a man. It was always a man. And I always thought, where are the women? Why aren't the women asking? And Instagram and social media has just changed the game, because women, this is such an unfair thing to say, and I'm such a feminist, are not the first ones to promote themselves. And Instagram has opened up the door that now a woman can just say, well, here's my work. And it allows a woman an entree into a world where she can get more press. I don't know if that makes sense, but you have to ask for things, because say you are working in a salon and you've been assigned a certain station, and you know, you're looking at that, you know, the person who's working by the window is going to be leaving soon. And you're like, oh God, I'd really like that. I'd really like that chair. But you don't say that to the owner, or you don't say that to the manager. You don't say, so how is that person supposed to even know? So you have to put yourself in the shoes that you have to ask. because people want to mentor. People want to do the right thing. Joseph, with your school, you want people that come to you and say, look at Joseph, I really want to do photo shoots, or I really want to do fashion week. You're going to at least teach them how to do it. And maybe down the road, you're going to say, you know, Maggie Mulhern calls and says, hey, look at somebody was supposed to join me for fashion week this day and she's not here. Do you know anybody who wants to? And click. You just have to learn. This is to all the students. Just learn to ask for things. You know, don't be annoying, like the annoying woman who's doing a Mustafa video and
I think we say don't be a Karen today.
Don't be a Karen. Yeah, my daughter said that to me. She goes, Mom, are you a Karen? Maybe. Depends on the subject. But no, ask for things. Let it be known what you want, especially to people who you have selected to be your mentor. And again, we all want to be mentors. All these younger people, these millennials who have mentored me, are all wanted to be mentors. People want to help each other. Don't we all, especially now, my goodness.
Yep.
Let's see your ponytail. Pull that around. Ariana Grande.
Honestly, it may still be wet. I actually washed my hair for you guys. It was
wow.
Yeah, it's a lot of good hair, and I don't take credit for it. All the credit goes to Eva Scrivo.
So Maggie, my last question, you've been so terrific and candid and open. What's next? What's next for Maggie Mulhern?
Well, Maggie Mulhern Media, I'm kind of excited about it. I'm excited about doing photo shoots with whoever wants to do one. The models aren't back yet. The models aren't back. The models have all left New York. Everybody's terrified. And I'm hoping to start doing things in September or October. NAHA has pushed back entries to November. So I was on the phone with Roberto Logresti, again, best photographer in the world. Roberto said we could maybe do something at the end of September. So I may be making an announcement. I'll make it on my Instagram if we're going to be doing something. Thank you for asking. I am doing some presentations from social media presentations. The D. Pasquale Salon Systems in New Jersey. I'm doing a Zoom workshop with Sydney Ann Lopez, who's this amazing salon owner from Denton, Texas. She knows what she's doing, and she and I present together. So if you guys, the first one I think is, August 24. So D. Pasquale Salon Systems, go check that out. Actually, you know what? I'll put something up on my Instagram. And it's really cheap. I mean, they're inviting up to, I think, 50 people. We're doing 3 different workshops, and I think it's only like $75 each time, but it's going to be amazing. It's a 2-hour workshop, and it's with Sydney Ann, she's a salon owner. So many people can relate to her. She's got purple hair. And then I helped build Modern to over 1 million followers. So I learned the hard way, and it's a real nature versus nurture, because she knows it just comes so naturally to her. And I had to work hard. I had to learn it. And that's why a lot of the, I hate to say older people relate to me, but they do, because I'm low tech, and I learned things the hard way. But sometimes when you learn them the hard way, they make more of an impact.
Thank you. Well, thanks for everyone that tuned in. I think you can follow Chris, and you can follow Joseph. You can follow Maggie. You can follow me at the David Stanko on Instagram, where I'm just having a good time on TikTok until it's gone.
Yeah.
On Instagram, on Facebook. It's all about beauty and personality. And Maggie, you have that in spades. Thank you so much for agreeing to be my interview.
Thank you. I'm so honored. To all of you, I'm just so honored that you included me in this. And I'm so excited about going back and watching the other ones that you've done. I didn't even know about this. So I'm really thrilled. I'm going to check out all of these. I can't believe that I'm looking at a screen that has 3 of my favorite people. There's David Stanko, Joseph Whitnick, and Chris Sorby. I mean, three people who I see as mentors, and people who just know what you're doing, and you're icons yourselves. So cool.
Yeah, thank you. I
am speechless. What an incredible interview. Thank you to both you, Maggie, and David. The questions that you asked, the feedback, Maggie, that you gave us is so invaluable. and will be in our library forever. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you guys, and thank you again. Honored to have done this, and it was just such a joy. What a great way to spend the afternoon. And thank you for giving me a reason to wash my hair, David Stanko, because I'm not doing it that much these days. and watch yourself on your bicycle, Chris.
Yeah, I will. Thank you.
Bye, everybody. Thank
Bye.
you.
Thanks so much.
Bye.